Howdy, folks. It's 9:30 on a Tuesday, so that means it's time to go behind the hedges. I'm Mitch.
This is Matt,
and we're here to talk with you about the latest headlines in Georgia Bulldog land. Which honestly, Matt, since last week, not much more has happened. Plenty happened last week, but
worst part of the year, man. This is the worst part of the year.
But we do have a couple of things that we would like to ham out with you folks at home. And before we do those things, a couple of housekeeping rules here. First of all, if you're watching us, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But also, how about going ahead and subscribing to our channel, liking these videos, sharing these videos, leaving us a comment on these videos, and we'll click it. Why not? And we'll try to get you on the show if you'd like. As a matter of fact, why don't I go ahead and put that up there? Yeah, there you go.
There it is. If you touch that link on your touch screen, you will go into the green room. We will see you, and then you will come on the show. Yeah. I think this is getting lost on people. I'm expecting to see a whole lot more faces. Yeah. All you got to do is touch it, and you'll be like, whoop, in the show.
Yeah. So, failing that, you can just type in what you see at the bottom of the screen into a browser, and same thing. You're in. We'll bring you on the show here. All right. So without further ado, we were hit with the news this week that sixth-year player Demetrius Robertson would be entering the portal. He's decided to peddle his wares elsewhere. So Matt, what can you tell us about D-Rob?
Oh man, this was I think one of the, if not the top. One of the top rated receivers in the class of 16. Kirby's first year. It was Kirby's first big target and Kirby's first big miss. Kid known as the Artist out of Savannah Christian, right?
Savannah Christian, right. He
took his talents to Cal and had a pretty decent freshman season in 2016. 767 yards, 7 touchdowns. Looked to be everything he was built to be. Injured himself. Had a ho-hum sophomore year because of the injury, and he was homesick. And before you know it, bam, he's transferred to Georgia in 18, gets immediate eligibility. Mm-hmm. And he was a former 5-star recruit who was part of our program for 18, 19, and 20. Mm-hmm. In those 3 seasons, the boy put up 600 total yards and 4 touchdowns.
And if you recall, 72 of those yards and 1 of those touchdowns happened on the very first play that he touched the ball against Austin Peay.
You're going to take this, Miko, like that? No. I mean, we were excited when we got him. I was excited to have him on the team. I was glad he was here this year. Depth. Going to back up Jermaine Burton for sure. And the kid's got speed, but in 3 seasons, he's got 604 total yards. I ain't talking about receiving. That's rushing and passing. He's got 600 yards. And in 3 seasons, he only got 1 more touchdown than the 3. So from a production standpoint, what?
Yeah. Still, we like the guy, and we've decided to put together a little highlight reel, in honor of D-Rob. Here's your send-off, Mr. Robertson. Here's your Georgia highlight.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Man, I don't know what happened there, Matt.
I don't know. Must have been a glitch. That was very underwhelming, like his 3 seasons at UGA.
Oh, speaking of underwhelming, looks like we have a visitor, resident.
Oh my God! Hold on. I thought the state of Tennessee had burned to the ground because I ain't seen this guy's face in like 6 months.
Oh, I saw him. He was over there talking trash about their latest 3-star recruit that they got the other day. So,
hey, we decided I decided to class up the joint a little bit here.
So what you got for us?
And talk about one of your favorite things to rag on, especially Ducati, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
The chickens.
Wait, let me back up. Let me clarify here. We have a volunteer coming here to tell us about chickens.
Sounds good. I love it.
Hey, when time comes, we'll step up. We might forget to ask what we'll step up.
What you got?
Well, I happened to be stumbling around in just doing some reading, and I came across a recent episode of Josh Pate's the late kick from 24/7 Sports, and he was commenting on things that had come to light from the South Carolina's hiring of Shane Beamer. And I found it funny now that the former head chicken is now hiding underneath the doghouse as an intern at UGA. It came to light the ironies of ironies. November 10th, Muschamp had a 4-year contract, 4 years on his contract as of November 10th. As of November 16th, after he lost Ole Miss 59-42, he was fired. The 10th of November, at his press conference, he was asked, "Do you feel any pressure? Is there any heat under you? Do you feel you have any fears about your job security?" He goes, "No, not a one." So it came to pass that I can't remember the executive assistant athletic director of South Carolina's name, Ray Tanner. Excuse me. Ray Tanner's the AD at South Carolina. His executive assistant AD just happened to email him of a list of the hottest head coaches and assistant coaches on the market the same day that Will Muschamp said he had absolutely no fears about his job security. And of course, you had the usual suspects on there. You had Hugh Freeze, you had Jamie Chadwell, you had Billy Napier, Kendall Briles. This is the OC at Arkansas was on there. Steve Sarkisian was on there. This was before he ended up at Texas. So they actually had a list of coaches, and according to the state South Carolina newspaper, this guy said, "I mean, it was just part of my job. Didn't mean anything behind it." Right. Right. And then a week later, I can't remember what was his last after the Ole Miss game. Someone sent Ray Tanner an email that had a article attached to it from a college newspaper that was profiling a coach. Anybody want to guess what that college newspaper was? It was from Oklahoma, and the profile was on Shane Beamer. So Shane Beamer didn't come as part of some highfalutin search firm, headhunters. They leaned on the Shane Beamer from a profile from the OU Student Magazine or newspaper. And and the thing about it was in the email that was sent back on November 10th, all of those coaches ironically showed were the top candidates to replace Will Muschamp when he was fired. So I just found that very, very ironic, kind of funny that, I mean, she goes to show you how well Muschamp must have been reading the room at the time when they were already building up a database of who they're going to replace him with after they got out.
Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, his self-awareness or just general awareness was never Muschamp's strong point. You want his strong point. You talk about defense for a little while. And then that's about it. And then send him to his room.
or if you want to talk about not being able to read the room, talk about Jeremy Pruitt's entire brain focused on McDonald's bags and football in general. And let me tell you, that athletic department is happy to be rid of him. There are things
they are
that have come out since then. And I mean, I remember saying back before Christmas, don't fire him, don't do it. And damn if I mean, the stuff that was based on what I knew then. What I know now, he was just a holy terror in that department. They hated his guts.
Okay. I mean, okay. That's very interesting. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That is ironic.
Well, I knew anything that would look badly on a hated rival is usually.
Oh, we love to watch other people with
yes.
the eggs off their face.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, since we got you on, I know you got some other stuff to get to, so let me pin you down real quick. In one tweet or less. Give me your opinion of a 12-team playoff.
Ooh.
I like it.
You like it? Okay.
I love it. I want some more.
It's the way it should have been at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to extend the season.
Well, I'll tell you, there are some arguments against, right? And there's plenty of arguments for and all that, and sure, there's going to be a lot of debate and whatnot. And you're going to have some people who are just vehemently opposed. It ain't the way it's supposed to be and yada, yada, yada. But I'll tell you what, I've been doing a little reading and poking around and listening to some other talking heads, discuss this kind of thing and learn some things today. A couple things that are of note. Number one, the top 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the top 4. The top 6 conference champions are guaranteed spots.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that means that a group of 5 team is guaranteed a spot. All right. And that also means that Notre Dame can finish no higher in the preliminary rankings than 7th. And hold on a second while I just.
And there have been numerous pundits going around, Paul Feinbaum being one, going around saying that how ironically unfair this whole thing is to Notre Dame. Because the only way for them, yeah, I know. I feel the same way, Matt.
This is not money. This is a violin.
A violin. It's world's smallest orchestra, playing a sad song.
I kind of want to do. Can I transform my face into the Willy Wonka face?
Yeah,
no. You don't want to join a conference? Tell me again how that's good for you.
I mean, my entire thing is, well, just go back to the ACC.
Yeah. Why not?
If you. Or just man up. If you want to stay the last independent and you want to be the lone gunman, then
you'll just be ranked 7th every year.
Nut up and win your way through.
Yeah,
Brian Kelly probably had his best team this past year, but honestly, he probably did. But he's not been shown. I mean, they're not built for the long run.
No. And another thing is looking at their schedule for this upcoming season, there's too many coin flips on that schedule for them. They are not going to be able to skate through this schedule like they did last year's ACC schedule. Even though they had to play Clemson twice, they're not going to be able to skate through this schedule. There's too many teams that are too close to them that they won't be a significant enough favorite against. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me at the end of the season if if I woke up tomorrow and it was the end of the season and you told me that Notre Dame was 7-5, I'm not going to lose very much sleep over that.
And let's say they were to go back into the ACC. I mean, that's not a gimme either. You give Mac Brown a few more years at Carolina. I mean, let me tell you something. I really have a feeling about this. The most immediately impactful transfer from Tennessee that you're going to see is Ty Chandler.
Okay.
He transferred to Carolina.
Yeah.
That kid is a hoss.
Well, not only is that there's space for him there.
Yes.
But Carolina's losing their 2 stud backs, so he's got a space. He is I agree, he's a talented player.
Yes.
But he's moving into a talent vacuum, and so UNC isn't going to lose a step.
No, but they're also building underneath him. They've also got some pieces in there. It's going to make it very, very interesting this season.
Before we diverge too deeply into the wonderful world of Tennessee football, though,
Yes.
Let's go back to the playoffs. It's the 6 conference highest ranked conference champions, and then I read that the other 6 are just the next 6 highest ranked teams. There's no limit on conference participation.
Right.
Division, like if it falls right, you could have like those, like the repeat game that between Bama and what was it, Bama and LSU, which was that's what ushered in the playoff era to begin with.
Right.
That'll become like the norm. I mean, if you're like really, 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 really good Georgia team and you lose to Alabama in SEC title game, you're going to probably go to the playoffs with a chance to cross paths with them again.
Yeah, and there are other teams out there. The one team that I would go ahead and at least write in that maybe like 7-8 spot right now is Iowa State.
Yeah, I think they'll be the other team in that conference.
Yeah, if they don't win the Big 12, and honestly, that's who I'm putting my money on right now. They've got, I mean, literally everybody's coming back.
I hear you. I'll take some of that action though if you'll let me take Oklahoma.
That's why Matt Campbell didn't take any interviews outside maybe the NFL because he had all sophomores and juniors. They're all coming back, and they're going to be that much better. And I can see him. I mean, I definitely see them making the playoffs. I don't know. I'm putting my money on the Big 12. I'm not totally sold yet. Spencer Rattler's probably going to have to tear up a knee for me to be completely sold on Iowa State. And I hate to have that kid because he is a good kid, really, really good. Probably, I'd say probably Kyler Murray plus.
There's no doubt in his talent. I mean, the thing is that Oklahoma just had a couple of missing pieces, and they were able to caulk the cracks with Tennessee's blood.
Yeah, Wanya Morris and
Eric Gray, right?
Eric Gray kid from Memphis. Yeah.
So, I mean, but the 12-team playoff thing is still a ways away. It's still a ways away. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. But I did find it interesting that one other thing of interest before we go on and do whatever else. So your top 4 teams get a first round bye, which means the other 8 teams play 4 games on 4 college campuses. The 4 college campuses of the highest rated teams in those games. So, for example, if Georgia and Cincinnati met, which it would have worked out to 5 versus 12 or whatever it was last year, if those 2 teams met, or 6-11, I can't remember, on the field, it would have been at Athens. The 2 teams would have played on a college campus, right? Now, every round after that goes to a bowl location. So your Sugar Bowls and whatnot, right? So like the top 4 teams to make the playoffs will be guaranteed 0 home games. So if your team is rated number 1 in the country and you make the playoffs, your fans do not get to watch any home games after that. I found that to be particularly interesting and a little curious. Anybody who follows a championship program, Alabama, Clemson, those are 2 write-ins. Go ahead and toss Oklahoma, Ohio State, Georgia, teams like that in this thing, who could potentially be one of the top 4 teams in the country. Look, man, if you're going to watch all those games in person, it's going to cost you a fortune to do so. You're not going to get to just go down the street, and hop in the stands and watch a playoff game. Now, if your team's rated number 12 in the country, okay, or number 5 or 6 or whatever, you'll be able to go to a game, but otherwise, those are going to be some expensive tickets. So, what are your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, as just strictly from my standpoint, if you're a top 4 team, to be able to prove that you're worthy of being a top 4 team, you've got to be able to go anywhere and win. I mean,
well, I don't think that's a problem. Asking a team like that to play somewhere else, but why not reap the reward? Why isn't the reward of being a top 4 team, getting to play in front of your people.
Well, I think they have to keep the bowls involved. That's a lot of money.
Yep.
That's a lot.
No, that's true. That's true. And did I see where is it the Rose Bowl that has been removed from that collection?
What? Was it? I did not read this, but that would surprise me.
I'm pretty sure.
So what were they spending in place? Would be peach.
I think it was
Why was the Rose Bowl removed?
That makes
I'm gonna look. I thought I read that. Hold on, Rose.
Okay, that's.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I honestly, so much for history. The granddaddy of them all.
That's all done, brother. I mean, the way the game is shaping it now with this portal and the way you can train, it's the NFL light officially, and recruiting is starting to get it was always kind of tense. Now it's just insane. It's with the name, image, and likeness thing. You're gonna see markets go at markets. I didn't say schools or coaches. I said markets go after kids. I'm rich and I want Texas to win everything ever. Kids, if you come here, I'm gonna put you on my dealership, my pizza and T-shirt, all of it, and I'm gonna pay you all the money from your name, image. You're gonna see that start to happen. Now you got a 12-team playoff, and you start removing the Rose Bowl.
You can already tell a lot of that where the money was flowing. I mean, the SEC network and the Big 12 is the Longhorn network. I mean. Mm-hmm. ESPN didn't go after the Big 12. ESPN went after Texas. That's where the money was.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got another news for you too. LA is a big city. It's a big market. Matt, you can help me out here. It's bigger than Athens, right?
It's a big market, but not really for college football, brother. Not really.
What percentage of that population do you have to have? In the college football kitchen for it to be a considerable market.
I mean, if USC gets in, I mean, you're gonna have eyes on.
You know what? LA reminded me of. I don't know, where is Northwestern located? Evanston,
Chicago.
It's right outside Chicago.
All right. Do you guys remember that really short? Maybe it was in the '90s when Northwestern came out of nowhere and was a big deal. My friends that I know that are born and raised in Chicago said that for 2 years, the city of Chicago became Northwestern Central. Mm-hmm. Yep. LA is very much like that. If the Trojans or the Bruins are kicking ass, they're all about it. Yeah. If the Trojans and the Bruins are just ho-hum, they don't give a shit. You will see empty. You go back and watch games before the pandemic. You'd be lucky to see half the Coliseum filled when USC was spittering and sputtering, and the Rose Bowl was the same. If they're not kicking ass, LA don't care, because LA's got the Clippers and the Lakers and the Dodgers, and that's a big market, but it's so eclectic out there. College football is definitely the low man on the totem pole, and I saw it with my own eyes. So it depends on how those teams are doing. To answer your question about how much of the population, if those two teams or one of them is rocking and rolling like they were under Pete Carroll, yeah, you got a market. Mm-hmm. But that's volatile because they're not always going to be rocking and rolling. And when they're not,
they did sign Corey Foreman last year, and they picked up a commit from Mikael Williams today. Yeah, so they're pulling a 5-star defensive lineman out of Columbus, Georgia. And I don't know. We'll see what that's worth. But, again, we've said this numerous times. If you wanted to resurrect your program, how do you do that? Well, you start building the defensive line and make sure you got a quarterback. And USC is starting to put those pieces in place. And is Clay Helton trash? Or is he – or is the jury still out? I just don't know. I don't know.
I know people who want him out of there, but
sure. But all of a sudden, it looks like he's turning that big rig and he's making a U-turn. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, and I know Matt probably feels the same way. If USC caught on fire and burned to the ground tomorrow, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
I don't think they've got. They're not going. They got to get past Oregon. Oregon's still the big. I hate that. It surprises me every time I say it. They're the big duck out there. Also, I mean, might have been Brian Kelly's finest team last year, but they're not going to be trash this year. They're going to have to get past Notre Dame. I don't think USC's got anything for Notre Dame right now.
We'll see.
So I think USC's, one of those. Listen, the thing with USC is, and I used to include them in the unholy three. They were like they are part of the unholy three. It's Ohio State, Oklahoma, USC. They could field they could field blind monks on the field, and the media is going to find a way to tell you that they should be crowned national champions week 1. Okay, so they've already got they're a national brand, and they have the media in their pocket. So they're always going to be relevant just because of bias from the good old days, when it was Notre Dame and SC in 1960s and everything was sunny and this is the grand that whole thing. But right now in 2021, they're just pretty good. They're not good enough to galvanize the city about that market, like you're saying. Now, if they catch fire, that will change.
Is there enough pizza joints to put some kids' faces on some T-shirts?
Well, fellas, I want to thank you for letting me doppelgang in here for a little while.
Yep. Yeah, no worries.
And I got some stuff I got to be doing, but I appreciate letting me come on. And Brandon and I will start revving back up here in the hopefully next few weeks.
Yeah, y'all got some big, exciting recruiting news to talk about.
Well, plus we got some baseball to talk about too.
Yeah.
I'm out.
We got the hottest. We got the hottest team going to Omaha, man. I mean, it's coming around. It's gonna be. I don't know if we're gonna win it, but it's gonna be a deep run. I don't think Virginia's got anything for us. So I think we win our first 2 games, and then we see whatever happens.
Well, best of luck. Represent the SEC well, I reckon.
Best of luck.
Yep. All right, guys.
All righty.
All right, later on, dude. We'll catch you.
Mitch, I ain't got nothing else, man. I think we covered. We broke the internet with Demetrius Robinson's goodbye video, and I'm in love with the 12-team playoff. Can't wait for it to get here. Probably going to be about 3 years from now, folks. Though, just so you know, things like this don't happen overnight. But if you got anything to add, go ahead.
Well, I do have something to add from our good buddy Mr. Robert Reynolds. There says, "What's going on, guys?" And then he says this: "Shaw will be a dog."
Shaw, is that oh God, what was that kid's name? Travis Shaw?
2023.
I know who he's talking to. I know who he's talking about. Shaw. Is it Travis Shaw? It's something with a T, I think. Okay. He's one. I mean, that's when Big Bear backed off. The buzz was Shaw, Travis. That was one of the names that they said we got to go after hard, along with Michael Williams, who took his talents to LA. But yeah, I'll take Shaw. He's a hell of a player. I'm still hoping Big Bear will come back.
Maybe he will. Maybe Bowie does too. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I spoke to some people in the know who said that they basically agreed with what you and I said last week. Look, it's time for these kids to sow some wild oats and whatnot and go visit some campuses. And, like I said, full court press for who you talking, Robert? For Shaw? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard people talking to that, so we need to wrap him up. All righty. We're still under 30 minutes. I think we can get out of here in under 30.
He's a can't miss at this point. All right. Hey, thanks for dropping in, Robert. Thanks for all you folks at home for watching. Thank you, Super Genius Dren, for dropping in and giving us that Tennessee perspective.
Hope we see them Orange Boys again before the season starts.
Yeah, I'd like that too. More. Robert just got it all coming here. We're signing off, Robert. Jalen Walker will be the key piece.
Overtime. Robert gonna come in here and be like, no, I got breaking news.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, that's it, dude. We're at 30 minutes on the nose. Before we get out of here, let me just remind everybody.
All right.
That's right. All right, folks. It's been real. It's been fun. It's even been real fun tonight. All right. We'll catch you next time. I'm Mitch. I'm out. Later.
I'm Matt. See you later.
See ya.